But take the challenge, be initiative, and because, it's a very competitive world out there, and the only people that have a lot of initiative, and that's what they're going to stand out. If I were the boss, I would like to see the employee that have a very high energy of initiative. Always coming out with ideas, is always coming in, come out, and volunteering for work. And that's the kind of people that I would like to give tasks to. And every task that you take, good or bad, it's always a knowledge. Don't look at a task as a waste of your time. You might see from the surface that it's a waste of time, but I can assure you, everything is about knowledge. Good or bad is for you to decide. It's not that we see from the surface. So please, I hope when you go to work in another company, I've seen enough, many graduates, even Proton, sitting down and very timid, very quiet. And how do you expect people to, look and pick you from the rest of the crowd? And I'm sure people in UTP are not like that. If there's any example of the speaker just now, Giovanni, he's very eloquent, and I'm sure all the UTP students are similar. But the point is, even though you have a character, you need to, to portray that, that image to your employees, employers, to make sure that they see you as a very person that's very high, initiative. Now, initiative alone is not going to be enough if you don't have the third attribute. In my mind, it's about creating opportunities. Sometimes opportunities have to be created now. Opportunity of a job assignment, for example, if you work. It's not going to come for you and say, hey, look, Ahmad, I'm going to give you an assignment. You must sniff out assignment, for example. If you know the company is doing something, you say, hey, I want to be part of this program. So you have to find ways, in your own ways, to come out to be in that program. But if you're going to sit down and somebody's going to look at your pretty face and say, oh, look, I'm going to pick you, I can tell you the day might not happen. So you must create your open opportunity. And sometimes you have to, I would not expect you to step on other people's toes, but you have to be different. You have to stand out. You have to be vocal. Maybe you have to sit down in your boss office every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning to show your face and smile and give him a name so that he knows that you are in existence. This is opportunities that you have to create. But you're going to come in and sit down in your cubicle and expect your boss to notice you. It's not going to happen. I'm not asking you to kata kalau orang Melayu kata nak bodek, bukan suruh bodek. But sometimes, if that's what you want, you have to be different. As long as you're not, doing bad practice, you're not, victimizing people, I think you deserve to make your own opportunity, because opportunity is not going to come knocking your door. However, some people are lucky. You happen to be at the right place at the right time. You might be given an opportunity, but most of the time, it's not going to happen. So you must decide what you want to do. And when you have decided what you want to do, you have to create that opportunity. It's either scholarship, cross assignment, overseas posting, projects, so on and so forth. And that only you can decide. And again, to remind, there'll be a lot of competition out there. And without that perseverance of creating opportunity, you will not be given a chance. Now, the other attribute that I think is very important in your life, not only in jobs, that you're married, you're at home, or even as you grow older, is you have to have a lot of patience. Sabar. Orang kata sabar separuh daripada iman. You have to have a lot of patience because it's going to be a long, and a difficult road ahead. Some of you will have a very clear journey. Life is going to be very easy, and that's because you've been destined perhaps to have a very easy way or life in work. But most of us, just like me, the road is going to be long and winding. And you have to have a lot of patience. There will be failures. If you fail once, you have to pick up the pieces and keep on going. You fail twice, you pick it up again and keep on going. You must never give up. Patience is a virtue that not many people have. And a lot of people normally give up, and when they give up, they tend to do things that they don't believe in, and most of the time will get themselves into trouble. And when you don't have the patience, sometimes you tend to say things that, that will get you in trouble too. So in any organization, you will meet a very demanding boss. You'll be meeting a very challenging boss. You'll be meeting a very unreasonable boss. Whatever the case may be, the rule number 1, the boss is right. Rule number 2, if the boss is wrong, refer to rule number 1, which is the boss is always right. So no matter what you say, you have to remember who's the boss and who's the subordinate. The day you don't want to remember, you have to be prepared with a letter of resignation, and off you go. And that's the reality. And believe me so, I've worked with many people before, and the best virtue that I have today, alhamdulillah, is because I have a lot of patience. And more importantly, I have a wife that understands about patience and giving me support. So patience is going to be very important in your life, and patience run very thin. You just feel like yelling, and you feel like giving even your boss a punch in the face. Don't try and don't attempt. I say, unless you have a ready-made signed resignation letter, by all means, go ahead then. So patience is going to be very important, and I hope you really learn to be patient, because trust me, believe that patience will pay off. If you look at all the best people in the world, and the people that make the difference, whether the scientists, because they had the patience. And I'm sure Bill Gates is not where they are today without the patience they had to work from this little, workshop they has in his house. Many other scientists, I'm sure they have failed 1,000,000 times before. What made the difference? Because they have the patience to persevere. And sometimes, Melayu in particular, patience is not one of the virtues that you have. But I believe we all can create and what we call harness the virtue of patience. And obviously with a lot of iman and a lot of faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the Muslim and of course for the non-Muslim too, I think patience is going to help you a long way in deciding your career and creating opportunities in the world. Now, the other attribute that you have to have, and I think this really demonstrates sometimes the capability of one to the other, is a very strong sense of self-belief. You need to have absolute belief in your capability. And sometimes it takes more than a year, more than a decade to harness this really notion of self-belief. But the self-belief must have a limit. Jangan kata you are so obsessed with yourself that you tend to do crazy things. And often enough, when you cross that threshold, you get yourself into trouble. Before we embark, just like if you work at a company, if you, for example, for me, we manufacture cars. I must believe in the car that I built. I must have faith and confidence in the quality and the performance of the car that I built before I can sell it to another individual. And that is why, as management, in a company in Proton, we spend a lot of time. And every car that has been built by Proton, I will do the first test drive on the first car. And no car will leave the compound and will not go into mass production until we say that it is okay. And I had to spend time in driving the car in the test track. And often enough, I will take the car home to make sure that it's tested before it's been introduced in the market. But that's the philosophy. So the point that I'm trying to make is, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whether it's a capability yourself, you must have a sense of strong belief. How to get there? Each and every one of you will take a different route. Each and every one of you will take a different journey, because you have a different background, you have capability, different aptitude, but you must